Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And we're just going to do another velocity banking review. But before we get started, I just want to make a quick comment about why I actually don't tell people in real life that I paid off my mortgage under 3 years. And the reason is because sometimes if you do things that are so out of the ordinary, you'll tend up like trying to over explain, and then you'll end up feeling like a liar. Happens to me all the time, and this is why, like, as you become more successful, you learn this technique or hidden secret called shutting your mouth so that you feel at peace, and that if you try to tell other people your accomplishments, um, and it turns out like, wow, it's really extraordinary. You don't end up over explaining because you over explain anything like, oh, but you don't understand this. It makes you end up feeling like you're a liar. And who knows, maybe this whole channel is a lie. Did you know that it's possible that I may not even be Korean or even in the Atlanta area? This could all be a lie. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So here I am looking at my paid off mortgage under 3 years, right? Maturity date 2051, lien position 1, total amount due, paid. And in real life, I'm never going to tell anybody this just because of my experience of, man, I feel like a strange liar of having paid off debt so quickly. I feel weird, to be honest. Now, I just flex on the internet, but flexing on the internet is a little bit different from dealing with people in real life. I don't know if you're aware of that. But here I have another property here I bought in 2022, peak of the market, and I already have right now it's 10, it's almost the 2 year point. So in 2 years, I already have a 50% equity position. And here I have too much credit. So right now, I'm not super rich. I don't think I am, but I'm kind of approaching um, facing a good problem that most people won't experience with this richest rich people problems. So if you don't know what rich people problems is, it's when you have problems, but you can sleep at night, right? Like having too much, like getting rejected from a credit card because you got too much credit. That's a rich person problem. Poor people problems, and I've experienced this before, or broke people problems is that when you feel like you're so anxious that you can't go to sleep the next day. But rich people problems is like, oh, you got this rejection letter? No biggie. I'll be able to go to sleep. Oh, this is kind of annoying, right? So, okay, back to my point. I don't know why I'm going on. But let's just do another velocity banking review. So, what is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy using your line of credit as your main operating account. Yes, line of credit. So, what is a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again. And take a look at this side. This side's, I need to delete. All right, so line of credit, right? So, if you have a credit card, that's a line of credit. If you have a line of credit, that's a line of credit. There's different types of lines of credit. There's home equity, personal, business, and credit cards, right? What's really interesting is not all lines of credit are the same, even though it has the term line of credit. So recently, I found out about like American Express's business line of credit, and American Express's business line of credit is funny because it's like you can take out as many loans as possible up to a certain limit, whereas most lines of credit does not work like that, right? So let me just kind of show you my line of credit right here. So if I scroll all the way up, you could see that I have a line of credit, $280,000, meaning I can go to the bank's website, click a button, and then they'll dump to the max $280,000 into my checking account. And again, these are the two lines of credit that I like to show, but in reality, I have over $527,000 in lines of credit. 527. And most people will never have that. But I love it sometimes when I tell people that and they get the because like they don't understand the credit game. Yeah, right. Credit game is a funny game that people don't understand because you kind of have to think big and you kind of have to kind of go in a little bit bold, right? Because what's the mentality of most people? Most people only try to get credit when they need it. And banks, they're smart people. They realize that there are enough people out there who they can lend to who don't need money, and banks don't lend money to people who need it. People don't understand that, right? So I have a line of credit for 200, actually 527,000 in total, but my biggest line of credit is about 280 max. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a line of credit and use this as what we call our main operating account, right? So we have $137,000 of income, and if you live in the same household and you have two people working, that's like one person makes 60, another person makes about 70, or a little bit more than 70, right? So 77, 60, 137 gross. That should be about $8,000 of income um, uh, in the household. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do this. Copy and paste all of these figures, but instead of freaking out that we have $800 of savings, we're not going to have any savings at all. Any savings, right? And then we're going to have income minus expenses, which is our cash flow. Our, what we call cash flow, right? This is going to be the number that's going to be used to reduce our debt. So, in order to do velocity banking, we need two things. Number one is a budget, and then number two is a line of credit as our main operating account. So let's just assume we have access to maybe, I don't know, $100,000 line of credit. And I know what you're thinking, right? This is about the exercise. This is not about how close is this to my situation. So many people watch these videos and they're like, how can I do a scenario that's so close to my situation? And my point is this: don't think that way. Do the exercise. Do it over and over again. If you understand the principles in general, then you will understand how do you apply it to your own life. And it's possible that it may not even apply to your own life. But here's the thing about debt and lending. Like I said, banks don't lend money to people who need it. And 90% of the people in this country can't even get a mortgage. So if you're not making money, you're probably not getting into debt, right? And I'm saying probably because a lot of people lie in their credit applications about their inflated income. But I'm saying if you do this honestly, and this is why it's important to do things honestly so that you don't go to federal pound me NDA prison, you're not really going to get into debt. Okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and do this. Now let's go down, and then what we're going to do is let me just introduce you to the concept of what I call the cash flow, or not, it's not what I call it, it is the cash flow index, right? So all it is a formula. Okay, and the formula is the statement balance divided by the payment. Okay, it's really easy. So this is 10,000 divided by 350. Mm-hmm. This one is, ooh, I don't like that. That's too many digits. Let me format this so it looks a little bit better. So where's the format cells, number, two places. Okay. And then this one here is 20000 divided by 650. This one is 22000 divided by 696.67. This one is 950. I'm sorry, this one is 30,000 because that's the balance divided by 950. This one is 24,000 divided by 469.59. This one is 22,000 divided by 425.32. This one is 275,000 divided by 1159.41. And so this cash flow index you could think of as a ranking system. Okay, the lower the number, though, that's the debt you want to pay off first, because for paying off that debt, you get a good proportion of cash flow. So think about this, right? If I pay off this mortgage $275,000, okay, I only get $1,150 back. That's what that means. That's what this high number means. Meaning, think about this. If you gave somebody $30,000 and they gave you $950 every single month for the rest of your life, would you do that versus pay someone $275,000 and only get a $200 more, $1,100 a month? I don't know about you, but I'd rather pay this off first to get the 950 than pay the 275,000. That's all this means, right? Cash flow index, the lower the number, the more bang you get for your buck for paying off the debt when it comes to cash flow. So that's what that means. And so anything that's really low, like a credit card, short-term loan, you put dump it into the line of credit, and we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And how much credit card debt is this? 20, 30, 42, 42, 72. I can't even do math. I gotta use Excel. 10 plus 20 plus 22 plus 30. 82,000. Ooh, $82,000 of credit card debt in a two-person household. One makes 60, the other makes 77, and we make $8,000 a month. And then guess what happens? Okay, guess what happens to this credit card debt payment by simply transferring that debt into a line of credit? This all goes to zero, right? And look at this. We went from $799 of savings into $3,445.68 of cash flow in one swoop. Now, the final step of velocity banking is how we use our line of credit. So instead of having savings, our line of credit will be your new savings account. And so we're gonna put our entire paycheck into that line of credit, expenses out of the line of credit, and rinse and repeat over and over again with this $3,445.68. Now let's go ahead and do this. We'll do the math. So this will be I2 plus 1 equals G2 plus H2. So what does this mean? How do we get the next month's balance? Get the previous month's balance, previous month's interest, minus whatever our cash flow number is, 3445.68. And then we're going to take the average daily balance, right? Multiply by the interest rate, which is 0.085, and then divide by 12, because the interest is quoted annually, but it's calculated monthly. Okay, and so now let's go ahead and do this and copy and paste. And how long is it going to take us to pay off the 80 grand of credit card bills, credit card debt? 27,000. Okay, so 27,000. Sweet. So 27,000, I'm not 27,000, 27 months to pay off 82 grand. So let's do it. Let's write that down. 27 months, 82K, KKK. And then now we have the two auto loans here. And again, if we recall from that cash flow index, then we remember that the auto loans were the next lowest number. And now I got to just kind of make sure that my loan calculator is done correctly. Give me one moment. All right, here we are with our loan calculator. And you can get any financial calculator to do what this Excel sheet does. If you have these three factors, the original balance, the interest rate, and then the loan term, you can spit out a payment amount. And then if you also have the current month with these factors, four factors, then you can get the future current balance. You could call it latest balance or current balance. So how many months was it? I always have a fish memory. 27 months. So what I got to do is just put 27 here, 27 here, 27 here. So what's cool about this loan calculator is that you split in the month, it will tell you the current balance and the current balance of these, and then take a look. Now, here's the thing about amortized loans. The amortized loan, the cash flow indexes decrease over time because it is the statement balance which will decrease over time divided by monthly payment, which is fixed. But when it comes to credit cards, usually the cash flow index stays the same throughout the entirety of the debt because it's always usually a percentage of that debt, right? Amortized loans always are not a percentage of that debt. It's usually a fixed payment throughout the life of the loan, okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and add these up and move these two car loans into that line of credit. We're going to get a lot of cash flow. Again, a low number, right? That's what we want. So it's G. So now G2 plus G3. So let's move the 27 grand into that line of credit. So we're going to do that right here. And all right, so we move that. So plus 27064.54. Okay. And then once we move those two auto loans into the line of credit, oh my goodness, These two go to zero. The two auto loans go to zero, the payments. And our cash flow is now over $4,000, right? 4 grand. This is just mind blowing. Oh my goodness. Okay. So now let's update our cash flow number. Okay, so our cash flow number has now turned to 4340.59. And what we got to do, okay, is just update the subsequent cash flows uh, after this month. And then we see in month 33, this is all paid off. Okay, so 33 months. So what is it? 82 plus 24 plus 22. Wow, it's not even 3 years and we paid off $128,000 of debt. Mind blown. Okay, so now we have this mortgage. Now, here's the thing about the mortgage. I would never put a mortgage into a line of credit. First of all, we don't even have a huge enough limit to do that. But there are people out there on the internet who promote, wow, you should always put your low interest rate mortgage in a 8, 9%, 10% line of credit. And the reason why that doesn't work is because, again, think about the amount of cash flow you get for putting that loan into that line of credit. So, am I going to pay this 200 something thousand dollars to only get $1,100 of cash flow back, right? I mean, would you, or you know what I'm saying? So you don't get that much bang for your buck. However, with high cash flow index loans, meaning that you have that little monthly payment over a long period of time, guess how much interest you're going to pay at the end of the loan, right? You're going to pay 140 grand. Now, I get it, over 30 years, it's not that much. But if we could pay it off quickly and not have to deal with it throughout the life of the loan, and also most people never pay off their mortgage in 30 years because they refinance or sell every 5 to 7 years, okay, we should pay it off quickly. Okay, and how many, let me just take a look here. 33 months, 33. Okay, so 33 months, the current balance is $258,000. Now you have two options, okay? So at this point, this is, we have two options, which is you're going to put your entire um, over like savings technically at this point. So you're gonna make that monthly mortgage payment, and I'll just call this option one. Okay, option one. So you're gonna put your entire saving, so as a direct extra payment into the loan. So what does that mean? You make the monthly mortgage payment, and if you have whatever, if this goes into your savings account, and so you're gonna pay the entire thing into your savings account. Now let's be realistic. Will most people do that? No. Why won't most people do that? It's because their finances get more complicated. So I put that 4,000 into that loan. Okay. Well, what if I need it for emergencies? I can't get it back, and then you have to use credit cards, right? Credit card, all these credit cards, and then your finances become what we call segregated. And the whole point of this is to make it as easy as possible so that we put our money into one place, right? So that's extra payments. Option two, okay, is just move part of the principal. We call this chunking, or I don't know, chopping, loan chopping. I don't know if that's the right word. But basically, we just move pieces of the principal into the line of credit and just do the same strategy over and over again, right? So option one is the default that everybody has, but let's think about human psychology and why loan companies price loans higher than lines of credit. It's because you have no direct access to your money, and most people, because they're not going to go through the wizardy of mental gymnastics to figure out, hey, if I overpay it, how do I, um, let's say, I don't know how the best way I would say this is, how do I get money if I need it for other expenses? Well, I'm going to use my credit cards, and then once I use my credit cards, oh, everything's going to become a mess and segregated. Let's just put our money into one place and make it easier for us to pay off the loan. That's all it is, right? And at this, both are effective. Like there's nobody's saying like, oh man, you should do this one over this one. What I'm saying is this is the default option. No one's going to do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just move. I don't know, a certain like $8,000 into that line of credit, And so how long does it take to pay off $8,000? We'll just do this right here, plus 8,000. Okay. Oh, look, it only took 2 months to pay off 8 grand. That was easy. And how much did we pay over 30 months? We paid, so 275 minus 258. So 275 minus 258. That's about 17 grand. So in about 2 months we paid 8. So if we do another 2 months, it's 16. And so in 4 months we could have paid about 33 months worth of payments. Right? And isn't that crazy? So let's figure out how long, if we do this over and over again, right? Put another 8,000 here. How long is it going to take us to pay off that debt? And let's just take another look. Okay. Wow. Doot, right? Another 2 months. So it's like every 2 months we could just move 8,000 and then quickly pay off the principal. You don't, so the most important thing that you want to learn from this is that you should not move your entire mortgage into a line of credit, especially if there's an interest rate difference. And I hear that all the time on the internet, but just because something is popular on the internet doesn't mean it's right. Okay? All right, there we go. Here's our trusty velocity banking calculator provided by Renatus. And if you don't know where Renatus is, it's an educational company where I originally learned all this from, and I resell their education for commission, right? Um, why do I talk about that? It's because I'm going to try to sell you something. And I know people are out there like, "Oh my goodness, you're trying to sell something." Like, yeah, that's how you become rich. Like, here's the sad truth about most people. You ever hear most people say, "Oh man, I would never get into sales." Every job is a sales job. When you go into like an interview and you like try to what's it called? Get a job. Did you know that's a sales interview because you're selling your labor at X amount of dollars per hour and you're selling it to the hiring manager? But because most people don't understand that, they don't understand how to get rich. But you get rich by selling stuff. And people get shocked like you sell stuff and like, am I supposed to do this for free? I only have a limited amount of time, but again, I'm a pretty terrible seller too, but I still make money. You know what I mean? But I need to probably do a little bit better job of recruiting people to sell stuff, or well, not to sell stuff, to sell them educational packages. But okay, so back to my point. So here we go. I put in all the information. Um, we can just use any chunk amount, really, just as long as small enough. But the most important thing when we make chunk amount is how much are we moving to the line of credit. The thing that we don't want to do, okay, very important, is move the entire balance into that line of credit, especially if there's an interest rate difference. So let's just go ahead and do this, and then take a look at that. You might be saying, "Oh man, 4.8 years, that's pretty good." But really $57,000 of interest. Why would you do that when you could just pay 18 grand? You know what I mean? Like, don't be stupid, is what I'm saying. Don't listen to advice on the internet about how you should get a first lien HELOC. And again, I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just saying compare your options. And if you had a cool calculator like this from Renatus, you could do it. And a lot of people like, I'm not going to pay money. All right, we'll get the first lien HELOC that other people tell you to do, and save a, I don't know, save a something, a grand to get and not pay 50 grand. I've even done simulations where it's like a 30% credit card. And I'll just do this right now. Okay. A 30% credit card. Okay. You pay a couple grand more versus an 8.5% first lien HELOC is actually performs worse. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Now let's go ahead and do this. Let's go back to that small chunk. So 4.3 years. And let's just do it. And yeah, let's end for today. So easy. So simple. So simple. All right. So let me go back here. All right. So 4.8 years. So this is going to be 0 now. And then now it's 33. Okay. Divide by 12 plus 4.8. We are debt free in 7.5 years. 7.5 years and 128,000. Let me think about this. How much was that? So 128 plus 275, that's 403K. Mm-hmm. And you know what's really crazy, and you know what I always like to say, that it's not, let's say, getting mortgage free in 7 years, it's actually four, and the total debt amount, okay? So the total debt amount is, or getting the debt totally paid off is going to take 7 years. That's the crazy part. Like people, like I think it's insane that they'll pay more than 30 years to live in a home, and they actually have 40-year mortgages like on the table nowadays, right? All right, well, that's it for today. So now, you know, once you have your debt paid off in this quickly, 4 years, or at least your mortgage in 4 years, then it's like, whoa, what do you do now? Do you explain it to people and then end up over explaining and feeling like a liar like I do? This is why eventually you'll get to a point when you're in your real life, and you're at this stage, you're just going to pretend like I'm part of the matrix too, because you don't want to, you just want to go to, live your life and not feel like you're over explaining everything and people think you're a liar, right? But yeah, that's it for today. Have a great day, everybody. This is Velocity Banking with Crane Atlanta Mentorship.